and welcome to my channel. I just got back from Disneyland, and if you know me, you'll know that I have a disability. I have hypermobility syndrome and possibly something else. I'm still going to doctors about it. I walk with a walking stick, and when I'm really bad, I'm in a wheelchair. I did take both to Disneyland. I walked around for about 2-3 hours in the morning with the walking stick, and then I had to be in my chair because I was in too much pain to walk. There's a lot of information for disabled people at Disneyland that took me quite a while to find out. I found out mostly in the Disney Facebook groups from other disabled people who've previously been, but I'm aware that not everyone is in these Facebook groups, so I thought I'd do a video with lots of information about being disabled at Disney, because obviously it can be handy for people. So first off, I'll talk about the Eurostar. I got the Eurostar from London, and I had to take my wheelchair on the train, because when you get on the Eurostar, it's not like a plane. They don't take all your stuff and put it on for you. You take all your stuff on yourself. We had my wheelchair and 2 suitcases. I pulled one suitcase and I was walking at this point, and Lucas took my wheelchair and the other suitcase. So we put the suitcases in the suitcase area, and on the way there, the seats behind us were empty, so we just took the wheelchair in there. But on the way back, the train was full. So what we had to do, we had to put the wheelchair by the door to get on the train. When you get on the train, the whole train station is completely wheelchair accessible. There are lifts at King's Cross Station. I've got a list here. I believe it's lift K, then lift H, then lift D. I know it's lift H and E, but I think the first one was K. That gets you from King's Cross to St Pancras. It's all wheelchair accessible until you get to the train. When you get to the train, there are 3 big steps to get onto the train itself, which can be quite difficult. Obviously, if you have to transfer, it might be a bit of a struggle, but people are patient, and it's often quite dead, and you will have time to get on it, especially if you get there the hour before. So yeah, the start. And there's also, at the Eurostar train station, there is a special disabled seating area, because the Eurostar station seats can get quite full, especially in the hour before a train. Obviously a disabled person's going to need to sit down, so they've got an area closed off with about 20 seats, which I sat in for half an hour. You have to present a blue badge, which I have got. I think if you're in a wheelchair, I'm sure they'd let you in anyway, but I showed my blue badge and she let me in. And it was me and about 5 other people. And you've got to be quiet. You can't talk on the phone in there and stuff. So it's really good, and the staff are really helpful, and they come every now and then. They come and check that you're okay and see if you need assistance. They help with your suitcase. They're really good, so polite and so helpful. What else is there? Yep, that's it for the Eurostar. Now on to the hotel. I stayed in the Disney B&B hotel, which isn't an official Disney hotel, but it is a Disney partner hotel. It's the cheapest, one of the cheapest accommodation close to the park. When we got there, there was a lift in the lobby that goes to all the floors, and that we were on floor 1. There were 2 heavy doors in between the lift and the hotel room, which was a bit annoying when I was in the wheelchair, and if you're on your own and you're disabled, you might struggle with that. One of them is a push, one of them is a pull, so you can't just push with your legs or anything. The restaurant is completely accessible. There's no stairs to the restaurant at all. You go down in the lift and it's just down corridors. The gift shop is the gift shop is also accessible. It's quite small. If you've got what they called, the electric wheelchairs that you drive yourself. If you've got one of them, you might struggle in the gift shop because it is quite small and crowded. But I was fine in my wheelchair when I went in there. When we got to the park, we were queuing up to get our bags scanned, and we noticed there on the left there was a disabled entrance. So we went through that, and we got to skip the queue, and we went through that in a wheelchair, because it was those big, like at the airport, them big doorways, like the metal detector doorways. The wheelchair went through there first, and obviously it beeped. We put our bags through, our devices in a box, and then we walked through. And then we went to the park gates, and we queued up to get our tickets scanned. There are the turnstile things to go through, but in the middle of each booth to get your ticket scanned there is also a door that you can go through for pushchairs and wheelchairs, and obviously you just push it through. If you've got a blue badge, a DLA letter, disability living allowance, or PIP, person's payment letter, you are entitled to a green card, which is this. This was a godsend. A cast member signs it and you have to sign it as well, and it's only valid for that one trip, so you can't give it to someone else after. And at the back it's got stuff like guests without feet, mental disabilities, difficulty standing. I've only got difficulty standing ticked, but there's a really long list of things on the back that could be wrong with you. You can get it if you're pregnant as well. If you've got a pregnancy letter, you can get that. And with this, you can skip every queue. We queued for no more than 5 minutes for the Star Wars roller coaster Hyperspace Mountain. There was a little bit of a disability queue for that with about 4 people, but other than that, we didn't queue. There is a disability entrance for every ride in the park. You go to that and you show them your green card at every ride, they check it, and then you go through and then you get put on with the people who waited in the normal queue. And you can also do it for characters. For most of the characters, we went to the disability bit and we got put through after a couple more families, and then we were gone within 5 minutes. For the princesses, Maleficent, and I think that's it, just the Princess Pavilion and Maleficent, we got given a card with, oh, and Stitch, we got given a card with the time to return because it was quite busy, so it was like an hour or 2 later. We got our cards to go back, and then we gave that to them, and then we got straight through, so we don't have to stand in the queue for ages. Princess Pavilion does fill up. On our last day, we got there at 11 AM and the disability list was completely full. There were no more slots for disabled people. But then on our second day, we got there at about 2 o'clock and there were still slots for Ariel. So I guess it just depends. But in general, you have to get to the Princess Pavilion as soon as the park opens to get a disabled slot for the princesses. And for Mickey, you don't get a slot, you just turn up and then 5 minutes later you go in. We did it twice. We also got a slot for Minnie and Mickey in Frontierland. They were in Day of the Dead outfits, and we got a time to go back for them. So yeah, that was really good. I would highly recommend that because we did everything within 2 days at least once. By the end of it, we did everything at least twice, and it was so good. We wouldn't have been able to do it without this. It was a massive help. If you're disabled or if you're going with a disabled person, you will be eligible for a carer's ticket. It's 1 carer's ticket per disabled person. I don't think you have to, no you don't have to be in a wheelchair for it, you just have to be disabled. And the carer's ticket is either free or very, very cheap, because we paid for our holiday and then I found out about the carer's ticket after we'd paid for our tickets, so I contacted Magic Breaks and they put in the request with Disneyland and they sorted it all for me, and I got refunded nearly £200 for Lucas's tickets, so he got in I think for free or very cheap, I can't remember which. So if you've booked a package deal, just contact them, then you'll get refunded. I thought we'd have to show our blue badge to be able to get our ticket, but we didn't, but I think you're meant to. That's another thing, if you get a green card you will need a DLA or PIP letter or a blue badge and photo ID. You have to have your passport or driver's license or something. You can't do it without photo ID, otherwise they won't accept it. We ate at Auberge de Cendrillon, which is the princess lunch, and that's where it's €77 per adult, and you eat a very fancy 3-course French meal, and the princesses, 4 princesses and 2 mice, come out and meet you, take pictures, do autographs, and that restaurant is wheelchair accessible. There are no stairs in there at all, and what they did, we went in and sat down and they moved the chair for me so I don't have to come out my wheelchair. And all the characters, sometimes I got up out my chair for a picture, but some of the characters bent down towards my wheelchair so to save me getting up. They were very understanding, they were very kind. There are 2 rides which aren't as wheelchair accessible. First one is Crush's Coaster, which is in the studios. It's the Finding Nemo roller coaster. There is a disabled entrance, but when you go through it, you have to go through the staff door, and then there's about 6 steps down and about 6 steps up, which you have to go down. They did ask me, can I walk, before I went through. I don't think there's another way in, so I think that is the only way to get there. And Peter Pan's flight in Fantasyland in the Disney park, you can only go on that if you can walk, because if the ride breaks down or if there's an emergency and you have to get out, you have to go down a ladder to get out of the ride. You can't just step out of it. So you can only go on that ride if you can get down a ladder by yourself. Some of the rides are quite low down, like Pirates of the Caribbean was quite low, so what I had to do, I had to step on the boat, then step on the seat, and then step on the floor and sit down. So if you struggle, if you can't stand without aid, you will struggle on a few of those rides. But in my opinion, it's worth it. Like, it hurt me getting in them, it was painful for my legs and my back, but it was worth it. I think that's everything. Yeah, if you have any more questions about being disabled at Disneyland Paris, feel free to ask me and I will try and answer best I can. I've got a list here and that was all the information I could think of so far. Oh, and another thing, the shops are wheelchair accessible as well. It might be a bit of a tight squeeze getting past displays and people will get in your way, but yeah, they are accessible. And also in the castle, if you go upstairs, there are Sleeping Beauty windows and displays and stuff. We went up the stairs and carried my wheelchair up, but what I realised is there's actually a lift hidden away. You'll have to ask a staff member where it is because I don't know how to get to it from the bottom. But there is a lift that goes upstairs so that you can get to the top of the castle, which I could have done with knowing, but at least I know now. So yes, I think that is everything. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe and check back for my other Disney videos. Bye!